Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanny and Clarkey visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right, how are we?
Not too bad. How are you? Are you well, guys?
Yeah, not too shabby at all, really.
Yeah?
Good to be seeing your faces, as always.
Oh, how lovely.
How lovely.
Have anyone said it nice to me like that for ages?
Clarkey often says it.
Somebody said something nice to me the other day and I was shocked.
Did you slap him?
I really was shocked. Someone said something like kind or positive and I went, oh, I don't often hear anything like that.
Who are you and what are you doing in my life?
Exactly. You don't have to be that nice to me. Anyway, never mind. Now I can't remember who said it.
OTT.
I probably dreamt it. I probably dreamt it.
Probably dreamt it.
That's
I probably
nonsense.
dreamt it.
Funny.
Well, I must note to self, we must say more positive things to Swanny.
Well, I probably need to say more positive things to other people too.
I know. Pay
I
it
mean,
forward.
not all of them. Some of them, you know.
Agreed.
Agreed. Yes.
So have we news?
Oh, I do.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, so I get this text from a friend today, and I'm going to read it out more or less
As
word
it
for
was
word.
sent, yeah.
So it came on the back of her saying they'd had a pretty traumatic Sunday. I'm like, oh, what happened Sunday? She goes, kangaroo got stuck in the fence.
Oh, no.
Dog started barking at it,
Oh,
woken up to kids screaming hysterically, went outside to see what was going on, and watched as a kangaroo managed to grab the dog.
yeah.
She put up a big fight and got loose, then kept wanting to fight it.
Oh, God.
All the while, LaRue was hanging upside down in the fence.
It's terrible.
I shouldn't laugh because it's quite bad. Blood everywhere. I had to go and hit the kangaroo with a stick to stun it
Yeah.
and managed to just miss its claws and grab the dog. Washed her down, only a few scratches around her neck and a cut of some sort on her lip, but all clean now and stopped bleeding. I think the
Jeepers.
kangaroo was bleeding more. It managed to get loose and disappeared. PJs soaked in blood, all before 7 a.m.
My goodness.
I take it this is not a suburban scenario.
Yes, no.
That would be like newsworthy if it was in the city, of course. Been all over the news.
There's a woman I did a show with last year who, similar scenario with her dogs and a kangaroo,
Yeah.
only she beat the kangaroo to death with a tennis racket.
Yeah, similar. Like, my God. But what a way to start
To
your
save
morning.
the dogs, obviously. Not just
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
shits
yeah,
and
not to
giggles.
kill a kangaroo for the fun of it.
No, but I mean, that's
No.
a country, what is it,
Yeah.
the Australian story?
It is. That is
Yeah.
a strange story.
But before 7 o'clock.
It's terrible.
Come on.
She was
And
right, traumatic Sunday, yes.
You totally go back to bed, but for the fact that your PJs
Covered
are
in
soaked in blood.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
I don't think
it's a
you would
lot.
go back to bed. Wouldn't you have
Oh, I'd be
be
going
like-
to start this
adrenaline.
shit show of a day again. Fucking hell, this has not worked well.
Yes. God. And it got away. That's the funny thing. Luckily, the dog was all right.
Well, I don't
Is
know.
it a good thing that it got away, do you think?
I
Well,
mean,
it wasn't
yeah,
feeling threatened. It's hanging upside down out of a fence,
punching
It's
on with a dog.
It's going to punch on.
Punch
Oh,
on,
they
I like
are
that saying.
tough creatures, aren't they?
They're boxing
Oh.
kangaroo, aren't they?
You just sometimes forget how hard nature is. Like,
Oh, they're vicious animals, though. They can kill,
I
they'll kill
mean-
your
Oh,
dog, and
yeah.
they can kill you if they get a
Yes,
kick in
of
the right
course.
place.
yeah.
I'd be shit scared. I don't know.
I'm
And I think
terrified of kangaroos.
You'd really want to run. You'd really want to you'd want to have that adrenaline going to save your dog to be able to get close enough to a
even
kangaroo.
near it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm
Fuck,
so
I'm
scared
taking
of
it, yeah.
kangaroos.
Yeah.
It's not funny. Yeah.
I've never really had a great deal to do with them, to be fair. So I wouldn't say that I have a overwhelming fear because they're not often in my my world. But yeah, I wouldn't want them to be either. I think they're pretty. Oh, you can see how muscular they are. Like they're just ripped.
They are. I've showed you the memes, haven't I, of the kangaroos that are so ripped and that it says a kangaroo is just a deer that went to prison.
Yes.
Oh, God.
When they're like this.
Yeah,
They're all
where they're all
rough.
muscly at the
Yeah,
front, all the big
Yeah.
chesticles. Yeah. Well, that is news. Life in the country,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see that every day.
Thank God.
thankfully. Yes.
Yes. What about you, Lot? Any news?
Not really. Not on top of that.
I mean, it's hard to top
No,
that, isn't
that
it?
is
Yeah.
hard to, yeah, it's been very quiet around here.
I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanny.
And I'm Clarky. And together we are
Trial by Wine.
Wine.
And what are we drinking?
Oh, wine.
Oh, I hope so. I'm on my first Coke Zero of the
Zero.
day.
Did you put your wine in a Coke Zero can again?
Oh, you know what? I could totally live like that, couldn't I? No one would be any the wiser.
Or vodka.
No.
Yeah.
Vodka,
easily.
true.
Yeah. No one would know.
No. Boys, what are you drinking?
We're on the Red Claw Pinot Noir
Nice.
from Mornington Peninsula. It's very nice. Yes, it's that weird time of year where it's sunny, but it's not warm enough to be getting stuck into the white wine and rosé. So
Wait till
No,
Thursday.
agreed.
But yes.
oh, I know we'll be
You
tipping.
got a
it
hot
in
one
then.
coming, have you?
We've got a hottie coming. Yep.
Oh, good.
Yay. Can't
Yeah.
wait. I'm rocking a bit of a Swanny special today. I've got a soda stream that I have
Yes.
left in this room for probably
Oh!
5 days with,
Oh, delicious!
what's that, about a quarter of a flat fat.
That definitely is a
Sun-kissed
Swanny special.
thing.
Gosh, upper
Followed,
class.
followed by another Swanny special, which is another bottle of soda stream, but with just tap water in it.
If you could see
And-
what's in the bottom of my fridge, that's because my children will not fill up the soda.
Oh, really?
soda stream.
That's
At the
punishable
moment,
by
they're like,
death.
there's like 3, and I just refuse to. I'm like, I'm not drinking out of them, so I just refuse to. They've got to do
Yeah,
it
yeah.
themselves.
And who's got a story for us?
I do. I have a story.
Ooh,
Tell me more. Tell me more.
how many people died?
A few. So I've got to tell you sort of how I found this story, which is also going to relate to the sources that I've used. So on the weekend, some of my children were taken away to Rottnest Island by another family, which meant that I only had one child at home who is nearly an adult and will be in a couple of weeks. So my husband took me away for the night just to Crown, and we had a bit of Nobu for lunch and then just a
Lovely.
a bit of room service and a relaxing
Romantic.
night. Yes.
night? Yes.
Well, it was until I found this on the TV and was asked to turn it off, and I went, I cannot turn it off. And
Don't tell me.
the screen was so large in our room that when they showed the gentleman, I use that word knowingly, and there'll be a photo. I don't want you to Google. I want you to wait.
Okay.
Because there's one photo when you see the photo, you will know the photo, and it had to be shown, I don't know, 20, 30 times during the series or documentary, whatever I watched. And my husband was so annoyed with me, and I kept going, I need to finish watching it because I don't know if I'm able to watch it when I get home. I'm not going to have time before I do my story. I need to. And of course, I found it really interesting. So that is how
Did he
found
leave
this
you?
story.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was
So
just
romantic.
another, smashing romantic night that we have, and people laugh about the fact they go out to a hotel or they go out for a nice meal and everyone's tired and, it's
telly.
not really romantic at all. It was just,
Oh, it's a
just
change
to
of
be
scene,
quiet.
at
And,
least.
yeah, it was relaxing. No one was running around doing jobs or worried about kids, but I was doing a little bit of trial by wine research. So
He gets to understand your process.
Oh, I think he might have
What
an
an
idea
honour.
about that. But he was muttering under his breath, going, why do I have to watch this now? Turn it off. It's disgusting. Please. And I'm like, it was pretty vile. And it's just when you see this one particular image, when you look at your, and the audience can do the same, of course, our listeners, you'll know exactly which photo it is. Anyway, so the sources were the documentary, or the series, the episode. I think it's just an episode, actually. I think it is actually of a series. Is called When a Killer Calls. And I missed the very beginning of it, so I didn't understand. But I actually think it's a British series. So I think it was just an episode. It was on Channel 5, and When a Killer Calls is the series.
Is it about when a killer calls at your home or calls on the phone?
When they call on, well, I don't know, but the one that I saw was they call the police, and we'll start with that. Yeah. when the killer calls.
Okay.
So perhaps in the other ones they do call home. Perhaps I think it might actually, the whole premise could possibly be, given this was the beginning of this one, that they'd actually called the police. The killer had called the police.
Right.
The killer
Okay.
called
The
police.
killer
The killer
called the
called the police. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I thought I misheard that. Or
Right.
misunderstood
See, I
that a
was
second ago.
yeah, me too. I
No.
was completely off on a different tangent. I'm glad I asked that question.
No, and that's
I'm
why I
back
think
now.
perhaps there is, and I don't know this because I haven't had a chance, and I did try and have a look at it, but of course I couldn't watch it in this country or whatever else. But that would be quite an interesting premise. So I think that's certainly what this episode was. I don't know if they all are a little bit different, but I think it's actually when a killer has made contact with the police or a law enforcement agency. Okay, so when a killer calls, and then I've also used BBC.com, The Guardian, Daily Mail, and Wikipedia. And
Classics.
the classics. There's I haven't
Quite highbrow.
I haven't really gone beyond that.
Jeez.
Without further ado, let's go and meet a young man, or not so young man actually, a man called Stephen Port. And Stephen was born in 1975. So he's now 50.
Mm-hmm.
So he was born in Southend-on-Sea in Essex, and his family moved shortly thereafter to Dagenham in East London.
Oh, Dagenham cleavage.
What is that?
That's an ass crack.
It's your
Ass
bum.
crack.
I've never heard that before. How have I missed that? That's something I would normally know.
It's a great
Like
one.
a plumber's crack.
Yeah, I know that's
Yeah.
really. Did you know that one as well, Schmitty? The
I've heard
Dagenham
it,
crack?
yeah.
Oh, I'm
Probably
a little
from
bit,
the same
I'm
person.
Dagenham.
I'm a little bit embarrassed.
Yes, probably.
Yes. Anyway, so he grew up there. Stephen grew up there with his parents, and surprise, surprise, at school he was described as being a loner who was often bullied. He was described as being sort of quiet by teachers, but also having sort of some peculiar. How do I say it?
Peculiarities.
Thank
That's
you.
it. That word.
That one. My language has been murdered. My shopping trolley just
gone.
Oh,
Sorry. It's
It had
perimenopause has done to me.
oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so hard. Some odd behaviours.
Uh-huh.
He left school at 16 and initially he went to art college, but his parents were unable to sort of afford to send him there for the duration of his course, so he ended up leaving and trained as a chef instead. Stephen would come out as gay in his mid-20s, and he was still living at home at that point. He did move out of home in his early 30s, and he moved into a flat in Barking, which is still Dagenham, actually. I think it's the same borough. And if we do a little maps world, it's East London. And I think it just is. I think it's probably the most deprived, or one of the more deprived boroughs. But having said that, I think there's sort of aspects to it that are, it's very multicultural, lot of council housing. And I also think, like a lot of areas in London, there's probably young people, well, not that he was that young, I suppose he's young, in his 30s. I can say that now that I'm in my 50s, looking for accommodation. So he just lived in a simple one-bedroom flat I've seen the building, it was sort of like, a somewhat, cheap new build kind of thing. Nothing flash, but having said that, it wasn't like a dire council estate either. It was, he probably thought it was pretty awesome, to be honest, and probably had a pretty nice level of living for a single man. So whilst he was living there, he worked as a chef at a bus depot, which confuses me, but I think that there was a place to feed the bus drivers is what I would hazard a guess.
Might have
if he was
had a
chef
cafe
there.
or something on
Yeah,
Or a
something like that.
diner.
A diner type thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. He was described as having an athletic appearance, and there's one kind of major point to his appearance. He was 6'5".
Wow. It's tall.
So he was
Wow.
very tall and very lean, in the sense, athletically lean. He wasn't like a big man. He was a tall, lean man, and he was
bean
bald.
pole. Oh.
However, he disguised that by wearing a blonde toupee in public, and he'd had it done professionally because I think as he got older, he was trying to hold on to his youth.
Aren't we all?
Well, maybe for different reasons, Schmitty.
Okay.
Maybe your reason for holding on to your youth and my reason for holding on to youth is not that we're necessarily trying to attract very young men.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to attract relatively young men. I'd like to attract any men, frankly, other than my husband.
It's a bit like that,
just to
isn't
make
it?
myself feel good, by the way, not for any reason that I'm going to do anything about it, but yeah.
Yeah. Stephen was living in Barking, and as I said, he was the depot chef at the local bus.
What do you do? I'm the
Terminal.
depot chef.
Yeah.
Embarking.
He was very tall, had his toupee, and he may or may not have sort of had a bit of an obsession with children's toys, which is,
Oh.
again, not the worst thing in the world, but again, a little bit unusual.
Red flag.
When you say an obsession with children's toys, do you want to elaborate yet?
I can't. Yeah, there's nothing like there were fire engines and different things. It wasn't like,
okay, like
we're not necessarily
dolls
dollies
or-
necessarily.
right.
No,
Like,
not
did
necessarily.
he sit on the floor and push them around or something, or did
No,
he do
just
something?
liked having
Might have
them
just
and
collected them?
playing and stuff. I think he spent a lot of time on his own. He was very softly spoken and
Sounds
didn't
like fun.
didn't socialise a lot. Bit of a homebody. Loved the internet.
Yep.
Spent a lot of time on his laptop. And I've seen a neighbour of his interviewed, and they had quite a nice relationship. And sometimes he'd go down there and have a drink, and they would chat. And the upshot of Stephen's life at this point, which was back in about 2013-14, was the fact that he was all about young men. And when I say young men, like, as the neighbour said, sometimes he had concerns that the men that he was pursuing online or even would have at his apartment and he would introduce him to, he said, there were times where I questioned whether or not they truly were of legal age. So they were really
So
young
children.
people. No, not children.
Young teen boys.
Young men.
Young-
like where I think the name
But
that
look
they use
younger
is,
than they were.
is that what a twink is? But I don't want to say it if it's a twink if it's not. I don't actually know if that someone
What is a
who is
twink? What?
what? Do you
What's
not
a
know
twink?
what a twink?
Is it what?
It's like a younger looking.
Like a tween? No.
I think my
No,
Twink, gay,
I always
Oh,
think of
right.
male, young.
what's his name? Troy
It's
Sivan.
a gay
isn't
or
it? Like he's
bisexual
like a
young
very
man with a
Yeah,
slim
that
build
kind
and
of thing.
youthful appearance.
very slim,
Yeah.
very
Never
youthful.
heard of it.
Yeah,
There you
very
go.
slim. Yeah. I hear it a lot. Like I hear it often. I don't know why, but just must be the circles I'm.
right?
I'm in.
yeah.
Yeah, but if he had a type, trust me, that was it. And I think this idea of wearing the toupee and trying to hold on to something was, as he was entering his 40s, he was starting to, get to or back end of his 30s, going to his 40s. He was really trying to hold on to something so that he was still seen as somewhat, I guess, attractive to a considerably younger man.
Look at Schmitty reading away all about
Ready about what twinks are, eh?
Yes. Oh!
Like, where the hell does that come from? Okay.
What does it actually mean? Does it stand for something?
It says a gay or effeminate man, a younger male regarded as an object
Oh.
of gay male desire, commonly associated with the Twinkie, a trademark for a kind of small oblong, the
They
cake
used to take them to
thing.
space.
Yeah.
Yes, because I remember
And
getting
that's
one
the
when I was
bit
in
that
high
was
school.
probably
It
getting
was
the
disgusting.
face.
Isn't
Yeah.
it a cake?
Yeah, I'm not a
Yes,
fan
a Twinkie,
on them.
Twinkie
Yeah, that
bar, isn't
cake thing. Yeah. When I read that, I just thought, okay, I had no idea about that. Yes. Yeah, with a cream filling. Mm. Oh, matron.
Beautiful matron.
Anyway, sorry. I
Wow.
digress. Oh, you're a small oblong cake with
Yeah,
a cream
so-
filling.
Exactly.
Centre.
Gross.
Stephen Port definitely has
Like to twink.
a thing. Oh, yes, he likes to. And the neighbour did describe it was a bit of a revolving door of boys coming and going at his flat. Some that he would, proudly text his neighbour and say, come down and see this one or whatever else, and come down and say, I'm going to marry this one. And he said, then no sooner would he meet him, he'd be gone, there'd be another one in and out. People were coming and going constantly.
They were going though, yes.
But he was described as having
We saw them leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
A voracious
Voracious appetite
for meeting
twinks.
very young men. And as time went on, I think that the neighbour was starting to become concerned that some of them may have been a bit vulnerable as well. They didn't always seem to have, for a number of reasons, whether that be some of them were staying with him or not, or they, do you know what I mean?
It just got the vibe that
There was
were
a bit of a
vulnerable.
creepiness going on.
Yeah.
And he said, look, at one point I was starting to consider whether or not there might have been a pedophile tendency there. But anyway, it was just because they were so young.
just because, that's a good reason.
Yes, that he.
When you say so young, like illegal, or just looked so young?
he
They
wasn't
look-
sure. Certainly,
can't tell.
there were ones that were legal, but then there
Yeah.
were some that were a question mark. So he said it wasn't.
He's not
like always
carding them
that-
at the door, right?
But he's not bringing in 12-year-olds.
No.
They all
If they're not,
could be.
if they're not 18 or above, they'd be around that age. We're not
Yeah, yeah.
talking about 14 or nothing like that.
Yes.
We're talking
Or
about
small children.
young men where there's a question mark when they're so, as it says, sort of a little bit more feminine looking, on the slight side, often fair and, not hairy and all
Just
that.
boyish.
Boyish. Good, well said, Schmitty. The neighbour said he'd also started to become a little bit concerned about Mr. Port's drug use. And
Just
that coincided with the fact that
sounding
Port,
great so far. What was it? His drug-fueled gay events? Or
Yes,
what was
I
it?
was.
I think we could be heading down that
homosexual.
area.
Drug-fueled homosexual events. Yes.
Right.
That's right, yeah.
From Adelaide to
Sounds
Dagenham
like
or
a
wherever.
gateway.
Barking. Yes. So that sort of coincided with in late 2013, Stephen Port started to use GHB. At one point, the neighbour paid a visit, and I think it was unannounced. And he said when he got there, he said that he saw like these vials that were in like a pack on his kitchen table, and he said it was not one, it was several. He said I've walked in, he said, and he was kind of disorientated. He said it was all a bit of a weird vibe. He said he was on his own. He said, but I thought, why is there so much of that there? Why have you got so much? And he said, are you having too much? Or are you okay? Or I'm sure the neighbours didn't say any of this stuff, but, when he's now being interviewed after the fact, that's what he's saying.
He was very concerned.
Are you okay? Are you sure that's, that's for personal use? You could imagine. But that's kind of where Stephen Port was at. He was sort of living this life where I read somewhere that he was an escort himself. I only read that once, and I can't, support it other than the fact that it said that he was.
Around this time or earlier in his...
Well, it might have been leading up to this time. So around this time. So we're now going sort of from late 2013 into 2014. So I haven't got any information to suggest that he was an escort at this point, but there is a suggestion that he had been earlier, but I mean, I don't know. And it doesn't come into the story again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that relevant.
Is that you coming in with that relevance, Your Honour?
Yeah. It's just one of those things that, the media just stacks up against someone. I mean, he might be a pedophilic murderer later in this story, but right now, the fact that he's an escort, it's got nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Not yet. For now, he's just a hornbag.
Not yet. He's just a hornbag who likes a bit of GHB.
Who wears a toupee
and he's so into twins, it's not funny.
A very tall hornbag.
I mean, they're everywhere. Dime a dozen, Dale.
6'5" is rather tall.
Well, that's true, yes.
So what I thought I'd just let you know, because I kind of need a little bit of education here, is what is GHB? And it stands for gamma hydroxybutyrate. Mm-hmm. And I know that we've probably all heard of it and how it's used, but in medical terms, it's usually used for the treatment of narcolepsy, actually, which is obviously, as you know, a sleep disorder.
That's interesting.
It depresses the central nervous system, causing drowsiness and euphoria.
Isn't that ironic?
Sounds fun. And it can reduce inhibitions. That sounds like fun. I would just have it just for the sake of it. I don't want to do anything else.
Well, that's why it's a party drug.
I'd be sleep. Fuck, I'd be done. Fuck off.
But if it's to treat narcolepsy,
don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
I'm going to bed.
I'm good.
It treats narcolepsy by making you sleep.
With a smile on my face. Mm. Yeah. Why would you need to do anything more? I don't know if that speaks to my age, but could you think of nothing better than feeling drowsy and euphoric at the same time?
A good night's sleep, it sounds
Absolutely. I don't see why you'd need to muddy the waters there at all.
It sounds like a lovely little breakfast drink. I'm just going to sleep all day in a happy
with your Bloody Mary.
That'll be next time trial by one. What are you having, Carla? You're going to have like a trial by one? It's like, oh no, I thought I've got my little,
I've got myself
a little vial of GHB.
Can we wind it up a bit? I need to get my GHB in and go to bed.
It's been a long day. Oh.
It's nearly 6 o'clock.
It does say, which I guess is where there is a little bit of a downside. There is only a small difference between the dose causing the desired effects and the dose leading to severe overdose and death. So there is a complication there.
Isn't that the drug that the girl on the P&O died of? Remember the story you did, Clarky, about the lady who was having, went back to a cabin and died?
The gang from Adelaide.
Those disgusting ferals, and I think GHB was the drug.
Cruise Crimes, that was.
Volume 1 to 5 or whatever it was, yeah, one of those. I'm sure it was GHB, not GBH, that killed her, yeah. So probably best Swanny to steer clear of that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I would think so.
A little brandy at night probably has a similar effect.
Yeah, because at least it does
Drowsy
say, if
and
not
euphoric.
sufficiently diluted, it can also burn the part of the body by which it is administered.
Ugh.
I think that they
Sounds
were
like a
just
hoot.
drinking it. Is that right?
I have no idea. It's not something I take.
Again, I couldn't
Would
quite
you put
even
it
tell-
in your drink, maybe?
I
Well,
think so.
if you're trying to date rape someone, isn't that the way they do it? They
and I
put it in
think
your
that's
drink,
the way it, because, yeah, I think that was the way it had been done here.
administered, right?
Yeah, administered, that's the word you're after. Okay, so now we know what GHB does. What is he looking at online? Well, I have
Porn.
I have a little bit of a list.
Porn.
Yeah.
Beavis and
Specifically,
Butthead.
he has a little bit of a penchant for date rape.
Yeah, to quote
Porn.
Avenue
That's his
Q,
thing.
the internet is for porn. The internet is for porn. Grab your dick and double click. Porn.
I've seen that musical, but
It's fantastic. Yeah.
I can't remember if I saw it in London or New York. And I know who I saw it with, and I wouldn't. It's so weird that I've forgotten that I've even seen it until you just said that.
Right. Well, it's a great
And that's the bit
musical,
you
and
remember.
That's a funny scene.
Yeah, that's weird. No, I don't remember any of it actually, but I know that I was there.
It's rude puppets.
It's all
yeah.
puppets, isn't it?
Yeah.
God, I'm going to go
Muppets,
look that up, find out where I watched it. So
Back to the story.
So he was
what
looking
was
at
Stephen
porn.
Port looking at? So we know that he was massively interested in date rape porn, but he also liked to spend a bit of time on internet hookup sites and apps. I'm going to give you a list of the apps that he was using because it's a list. They included
A list.
some of them I haven't
I'm
heard
going to
of.
give
Some
you a
of them-
list because it's a
Sleepy,
list.
Sleepy Boy.
Oh, right.
That sounds like my cup of tea, to be honest.
Too much GHB.
Yeah.
I think it's a different kind of sleepy
is it?
boy,
Okay.
Swanny.
I better be careful what I say here.
Mm.
Grinder, Hornet. Never heard of that one.
Cornet or hornet?
Hornet.
Horn bag.
Maybe like an ice cream, a cornet. Yeah, no.
Cornetto. No, it's Hornetto. It's the Hornetto.
The hornetto, right.
Fit Lads. I think this one's called
Fat
Badoo.
lads.
Badoo. BADOO.
Yes, I think I've heard of that one. Mm.
Gator.
Mm.
I thought that was something people had. I didn't think it was actually.
Yeah, is that a thing?
Yeah, Gator. Flirt. Daddy Hunt.
God.
Planet
many are
Rodeo.
there?
There's
It's
a lot.
list.
I'm telling you.
It's a
There's a list.
Yeah, he was prolific. Planet Romeo. Manhunt.
Oh, God.
Slave Boys.
Oh.
And couch surfing. Felt like we took a bit of a detour there.
Ah. Oh, no.
That's how you get young vulnerable
That's how
people.
you
I think
get
they
them to
give
come
you
and stay at your house.
Accommodation.
Yep.
Oh.
So
'Cause
I
they're
feel like I've
homeless.
kind
What a
of set,
fabulous
unhoused.
list.
I've
I
kind
think
of
you've
set the scene.
certainly set the scene. Yeah.
Yeah. For what? Well, this
And
is where
everything was nice. Everything
that
was
was the end of that.
consensual. Everyone was of the right age, and everyone had a lovely time. The end.
And they all DFHE'd their way through life.
What does that mean?
Drug-fueled
Drug-fueled
homosexual
Oh yes,
events.
that's right. Right. Okay. Now this is the hard part in the story as to how I leap into what happens next. Because where this story is particularly interesting is the way it is handled when a crime is committed. So in some ways, I'm not focusing particularly on the people who are the victims. And I don't do that with any ill intent or disrespect. The way I've sort of chosen to focus is on the way the Met handled this crimes. Okay, so I'm going to shock you here, and I'm going to jump straight in and tell you that Stephen Port murdered 4 men.
Jeez.
I am
4.
shocked because the way this was going, I thought it'd be higher than that. Right.
Oh,
Bam.
well, there you go.
Right.
Well, he's been caught for 4.
Good.
But where
Well, good that he got caught, not that he killed 4 people.
I was going to explain that a little.
Been
is
doing this for
practically
too long, I think.
unbelievable is the way that these crimes played out and the way they were handled by the Met and the thought that I think 3 of them probably could have been avoided. And then the hardship that the families went through when their sons were murdered and it was not viewed as a murder. So I'm going to go through the 4 murders and then we're going to spend quite a lot of time on the defective detective work, really, because it is mind-blowing. I don't think I've covered a crime, let alone a crime spree really like this, where I don't know who was looking at it. I cannot imagine that, Joe Blow down the street wouldn't have had a better shot at trying to solve some of this. It beggars belief. Anyway, so I'm going to sort of dive straight into the bad shit. Okay, Stephen Port murdered 4 young men during a 16-month period between 2014 and 2015. And he would do that by luring them back to his 1-bedroom flat in Barking before fatally plying them with GBH, the date rape drug. And then what he would do is he would dump their bodies nearby. Now, why this is so remarkable is, remember at the very beginning I said that I had seen this in a documentary which was called, When a Killer Calls.
Yeah.
This is where this whole sort of thing started, where Stephen Port himself calls 999 to report finding a young man unconscious outside his flat. So this is done on June 19 in 2014. So leading up to that, we know that
Is this the first one?
This is the first one. And it's the first one where he calls the police. And where it gets a little bit muddied is he calls the police and says, hi, I've just found somebody. Okay, he's unconscious. I think he's unconscious. I think there's something wrong with him, kind of thing. And doesn't say that he knows him or whatever else. And then when they ask for details of who the caller is, Stephen Port says, something that I've got to go and get my car, which I think is supposed to suggest that he's outside, that he's not in his apartment, and when he's calling or whatever else, and he hangs up. So the police arrive, and sure enough, they find a gentleman there, a young man called Anthony Walgate. And Anthony Walgate actually was an escort, and he had been lured to Stephen Port's apartment and had been drugged. And the understanding is that he actually died, I think, in the apartment, but it wasn't until the next day or early next morning, I think, that Stephen Port actually kind of went and propped his body up on like a brick wall outside, called the police, and the police have come. Mr. Walgate was very fashion conscious, and yet he was found with his underpants on back to front and inside out. But the police didn't think that was particularly unusual and not, necessarily suspect or sinister. It was just like, I think he might have had a little vial with him. So they were like, it's just another young person who's overdosed on GBH. And then GHB, sorry, this is when I'll start.
That's all right, because I keep calling it GBH. He's overdosed on, what does GBH stand for?
Grievous bodily harm.
Grievous bodily harm.
Yeah.
I mean, you could definitely die from that too. So,
Yeah. So he's pretending to be a client of Anthony Walgate. Anthony Walgate goes to the flat. He's drugged, he's raped. After taking the fatal dose, Port leaves his body outside, makes an anonymous call for the ambulance, and he's pronounced dead, when they arrive. Evidence linking Port to Walgate's death was missed at this time.
I would have thought if he'd raped him, there'd be physical evidence.
They didn't check.
All right. Well, did they not check because they were also being homophobic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, when I say they were being homophobic, at this point, I think it's a little bit of, it came up sort of time and time again, which is it's just another young gay person using
drugs and
gone
sex.
too far.
Yeah.
But I've also heard that they didn't realise that they were gay. And I don't know how naive anyone in that situation would be if you found that drug with a young man, and wouldn't have maybe crossed your mind?
Well, I don't know, because it is used as a party drug as well.
Yes, that's true.
So it's possible that you would say just someone who's overdosed accidentally on this particular drug. If it had been a female in different circumstances, you might have thought that they had been drugged by someone. Do you know what I mean? Like there is that kind of unconscious bias, I think, around males versus females in the same scenario.
Yeah.
But I think we've seen this before. Like, even we didn't really get into it with the South Australian cases that I covered recently, but there was an undercurrent of just homophobic nonchalance in the police.
I think maybe that's a good word for it. That sort of, it's like we've got other more impressive. It's just this is just happened.
Doesn't matter that much. Yeah,
I sadly think that is exactly what happened. They did interview Port sort of later, and he ends up getting a little bit of trouble because they find out that he has changed his story, and that he ends up admitting that, look, actually, Walgate was dead. I found him dead in my house. He'd overdosed, and I kind of didn't know what to do. So
I put him
I put
outside.
him outside.
Do you think he was worried about
You're
them
joking.
working out that
I'm
he'd
not.
been in his place?
I don't know. But the police didn't
Went,
investigate.
oh, well, don't worry
Port
about it.
for his- for
Never
this
mind.
killing.
We understand. That would have
They
been quite
charged
frightening.
him. He got charged with the course
Okay.
of perverting the course. Sorry, for perverting the course of justice, for lying about where he had discovered the body, and he was given bail. From the very outset, I just can't believe that.
How much time had gone between when Anthony
Anthony Walgate. Yep.
Anthony was found and this bit of evidence came out that led to his conviction? Was it?
I think it was like days to weeks. Like it was.
Not
straight away.
like 6 months later.
No,
or,
I don't think it was that long.
Yeah,
After
right.
the death of 3 others.
No.
I mean,
Yep.
you'd still kind of go, and if there was an investigation into the murder, it would be fairly fresh in everyone's mind to go, we should go and ask him.
Well, they're not seeing it as a murder. I
He
think
does
that's the
go.
problem, right?
He does go to jail in March. So in March, this is what's really confusing because it's in the same period of time. In March 2015 is when he is convicted of perverting the course of justice, and he's sentenced to 8 months in prison, but he only does 2. So he's actually not at home for just 2 months. And the neighbour says he didn't know where he was, and he tried to be in touch with him, whatever else. And when he came back, he just went, "Oh, I was a silly boy. I did something I shouldn't have done." And it was like it sort of didn't happen. And then all the other things actually still happen around this. It's sort of like, I find it hard to believe that it was even in this. Do you know what I mean? So he was totally on someone's radar for something, but
Yeah, but
not
it
this.
sounds like they're not viewing the first death as murder at all, or like
Correct.
it's not suspicious circumstances.
Totally. Yeah. He died because he had an overdose. He was with that guy. Guy freaked out, put his hands out. So he's been charged for lying to police.
I think you're right. It sounds like, and I could completely understand why they would not have any reason to expect it as being a murder until they find that somebody moved the body. Then I'd be going,
That's
there's
weird.
more to this.
Moved them outside and had called and didn't leave his details.
Yeah.
Just to rule it out, right? If nothing else.
I think that's where you'd start to go, hang on a minute, we need to be wary of what's going on here and look at as much as we can. And that's why I asked about how much time had elapsed, because potentially there's still fresh evidence they could get if they went, shit.
And this is what they said. This was
revisit this.
the biggest failure to start with was, that they opted to charge him.
Didn't investigate.
As opposed to investigating him as a potential killer. It's quite clearly
Like-
a massive, massive failure by the police.
A bloke being found dead on the street, probably not that unusual and not necessarily, like a red flag for murder, but the moving of the body for me is...
And the lying. If he had died in his house and he called the police and said, he took this drug in my house and he died,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and or called an ambulance even after he died and said he took this drug and he's just got into cardiac or whatever, if he'd called the ambulance, that would have been a better way to avoid suspicion, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like it could have possibly been an accidental death.
Well,
too.
that's what I wonder. Is it?
Is that one murder?
Swanny's sort of saying he's definitely, deliberately murdered these guys. But at this point in the story, without him saying I deliberately killed him, it could have been an accident. You know what I mean?
And it could be the one that leads to him going, oh, I actually quite liked that.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah, I should do it again sometime.
Gross.
Yeah, very. Because it's an unusual, the murdering of someone with, GHB, doesn't sound like enough on its own. It sounds like there needs to be more to it than that.
What do you mean?
Well, some form of rape /
I think he raped this guy too. She said that, but didn't get into any particular detail on it. I mean, at this point, we wouldn't even know, right? Because the police didn't investigate it. They haven't looked at the body and said there's sign of forced penetration or anything,
Yeah. And I think it would be hard to determine whether there was forced penetration or not. I think it's probably the one that you go, you get a free pass for the first one, but if there's more of these happening,
You'd be
Then
paying
you go
attention,
back
wouldn't
and look
you?
at
Just
that one and go, hang on a
Mm.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry about that.
It's all right.
That was the Japanese tutor arriving and Arthur obsessing over
Arthur
Yuki.
loves her. Yeah, yep.
Oh, okay, so we got that sorted. Right. Where was I? Okay, hang on.
Well, we were discussing about that you could kind of understand to some degree the first one. Like Clarkey used the words, you get a free pass on the first one because they haven't looked for forced penetration, any sign of rape or anything else because they aren't viewing it as suspicious at all.
Yeah. But to add to that,
Mm.
so when police knew that Port had lied to them, from the outset that he'd lied to them, that is, they did not follow up on information that he had volunteered during his initial interviews about his previous involvement with police on a suspicion of sexual assault. So there had been a sexual assault claim, I think it was like New Year's Eve 2013, so again, not that long ago.
Not that
and
long
that was
ago,
that
yeah.
was just totally, it was like a footnote. No one followed that up.
And he
Yeah,
raised it with
That's
them.
He'd mentioned that, like, oh, well, I don't know, he must have. Yeah, but they didn't do anything with that.
I've been good since that accusation. That the transferring of the body, I'm still stuck on that. Like it, and
Yeah.
particularly if there's additional information. Like, what on earth?
Well, unless he said, I moved the body because I do have a prior incident with you guys and that's why I panicked.
Yeah.
100%, you'd be going, we better look into this. Then
You
I
sound
think,
pretty dodge, mate. Yeah.
yeah. Oh no, that's the reason. That's
I
fine
see.
then.
Oh, fair enough.
So we
no
shouldn't.
worries.
Yeah,
Better
there'd
come
be
with
no
us then.
connection between those two things. Now that you've said it like that.
Exactly.
Fuck.
Why didn't you say that earlier? Yeah.
Crazy. So two of Anthony Woolgate's friends were convinced his death was suspicious and they aired their concerns. But they said that they believe that the police had simply assumed that because he was a gay sex worker, he'd just OD'd. Like it was
And-
just too
Sorry.
cliched. Yeah.
Obviously, subsequently, at some point, you are going to confirm that it was intentional.
Yeah.
Okay.
We now move to the second victim, and his name is Gabriel Kovari. And Gabriel actually lived with him. So he was like a young Slovenian student, and the next door neighbor had definitely met him. And he says that, he was basically, I guess he probably found him on couchsurfing.com or something like that. He was sleeping on his couch for, a pretty paltry amount each month. I don't know that it lasted that long. I think he was only there a couple of weeks max. But in that time, again, he was, young and attractive and a very sweet young man by all accounts. And the neighbour had said that he had met him and he walked up to the neighbour. And again, all the stuff that the neighbour says, you can only, I don't know, that
Is
it's
the
all
neighbour
very
Nell
convenient.
Mangle?
No, but it's all kind of very convenient because it's all like, with
puts them
hindsight,
in
I
a
guess they would
good
have
light.
put them in a good light because they've managed to ignore everything, right, and be
Yeah.
involved in it. And now they don't do anything wrong. But the neighbour was a similarly aged gay man as well. So they, would do things in each other's apartments, whatever else. But he said that Gabriel walked up to him and said, Stephen is not who you think he is. And he was like, I kind of didn't know what to do with that. And
How
then
very
he said,
dare you?
and it wasn't long after that
Come along, Leonard.
Gabriel, he'd said to Gabriel, oh, you can come and stay with me kind of thing.
Yeah.
I also
so hang
get-
on. Who said Stephen wasn't who they thought he was?
Gabriel Kovari,
The
who is
Slovenian.
the Slovenian
Oh,
student who
right.
is staying with him.
It's not who you think he is. Okay, well, come and sleep on my couch then, darling.
Yeah, he was an aspiring English teacher.
I think he's my neighbour. Well, he's not.
Gabriel isn't heard from, and the reason is his body is found in a graveyard at the Church of St Margaret in Barking, which is incredibly close to
In a graveyard.
propped
Not
up
in a
against
grave,
wall.
right.
No, not in a grave. No,
Just left there.
he's
yeah.
discovered by a dog walker one morning.
Always. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, you don't want to be a
Don't
dog walker.
walk
Gee,
dogs
yeah.
early in the
Not
morning.
in the UK.
Yeah.
Nope.
And like I've had a look online, like at the church, and I was looking at like where a couple of different things are in Barking. So they talk about the Barking Town Hall. They are literally 2 minutes drive away, even quicker if you're on foot, kind of thing. Everything is in this like little area. And this church graveyard, it actually looks beautiful. Like it's so picturesque for such a
Crap area.
kind of modern, dirty area. Yeah. Anyway, so there's this body propped
Modern
up.
dirty.
Yeah, bit mucky.
Bit on the grub side.
And so his body's found. And that was the 28th of August 2014.
So
just to get our head
months
around.
after
So
Anthony.
June was
June?
Anthony.
3 months.
August is Gabriel. So when they find him, again, nothing is sort of nothing really
Nothing to
happens.
see here. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, another bit of a misadventure by a young, I don't even know,
Gay
they
bloke.
could go some bloke. This guy's probably foreign as well, so it probably makes it even of less interest. I don't know. And
there was nothing connecting him to
the scene was
Stephen
not
yet.
declared as suspicious, so his body was not subjected to a forensic post-mortem examination. His clothing was not seized, and
they wouldn't
so
have known
therefore
he
no
was
analysis.
living
So
with Stephen
no
unless someone...
samples taken from his body.
Did they know who he was? Did he have any ID on him?
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know the answer. They obviously
But
do
they
work
would-
out who he is, but I don't know the answer to that.
And so how many months have passed? Sorry, I missed that.
That
when
was
you said
June
it
to
earlier.
August in 2014.
So maybe there's just a bad batch of GHB on the street that's killing young people.
Yeah.
We've got a serial batch of GHB.
But I mean, if they had had any idea that Stephen Port was in the loop on that, they would have found out that he'd also been living there. That would have been kind of handy, wouldn't it? That is his flatmate. Yeah, well, where had he been living? Where had he been staying? And I read somewhere about somehow they must have got in contact with his family, and then he had a boyfriend in Spain. The boyfriend was trying to find out different things. But what started to happen was Stephen Port was using different sort of online aliases to start to spread rumours and to get information to be sort of, away from him.
Confusing. Yeah,
Confusing.
and-
That's
yeah.
really a really good word, because apparently the
LGBTQI.
I think I need to say the
Plus,
first four. I guess
A
what I did.
plus?
Yeah. In this situation, I think it just said LGBT unit within the police department. I think something there was on their radar because people started talking a little bit, I think. And there was Pink News, which I guess is a publication or online publication, I'm not sure. They were starting, there was some sort of chat. Now, I don't know if that was after number 2, but it certainly starts to happen probably around number 3 or whatever else. And people start talking and things are happening online. So there is some chat.
The community
but it
picks
just
up on
doesn't
it.
seem to be the
In the
right chat at
police.
the police. And certainly not with the right people, or they're not doing the right kind of stuff.
Mm.
So it's not totally without some information. So that's victim number 2, Gabriel Kovari. Right, the next victim is a young British guy, and I've seen his stepmother interviewed, and that was actually very interesting. So his name was Daniel Whitworth, and Daniel lived in Kent, and he had a long-term partner or boyfriend. I'm not sure if they lived together, but they had been together for, some time, very, everyone in the family knew, just a really, I don't know, normal relationship. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It was, everybody knew they were gay. That I don't know. I sound like I'm being ridiculous.
No big deal.
No deal.
Everything
Like it was
fine,
just
no
part of,
deal.
yeah, absolutely.
So he was just, out for meeting someone else? Or
I guess so. I guess so. And very sadly, Daniel's
met
body was
Stephen.
found on September 20, 2014 by the same
Dog walker? Oh, what are the chances?
Yeah. In the
Oh,
graveyard.
come
at
on.
I
St.
mean,
Margaret
that's even
Church.
suspicious.
Now I'm starting to think the dog walker's got something to do with it, yeah.
This may have been the part during the evening
In
with
the
my
same
husband
church.
when I started going, oh my God. And he was going, turn it off. And I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no,
We're
no,
not
no.
turning it off now. Not when the dog walker
So in the
has-
same church, in the same
Correct.
graveyard, he's
Yep.
found another body. Is he
Yep.
starting to think that they're rising out of graves? They're just being ejected from the ground?
How many bodies do you have to find before you start changing the route you're
Not
walking
go to
your
that
dog
church
on?
anymore, that's right.
Like-
I think two.
No, mate, come
two.
flight over. We'll go left here. You 2 is the number, right?
As you say, the first one is what are the chances, hey? How terrible. The second one's like, oh, no, that's a pattern. I'm not coming back here.
Yeah,
Believe
yeah.
it?
That's shocking.
Can you
Jesus.
believe it?
I think if I found a dead body on a dog walk, I would change my route straight away.
Oh my God, it'd be so scary out in the bush. I think it'd be
It
like
would
horrendous.
just
Oh my
give you
God.
that
Well, you
same
are, yeah.
flashback.
Yeah,
Heebie-jeebies or
true.
what?
Maybe that's why they kept going that way, though, because they're like, I don't. As
And he's
Swanny said,
walking
it's very
through-
picturesque. I don't want it
He's
to be
walking
spoiled.
through a graveyard. with his
maybe-
dog.
Maybe it's
Fido's going to sniff out that dead body every single time.
the first one. I mean, we don't. I'm assuming that they weren't in a state of
dog's a
decomposition or
cadaver
anything.
dog,
Like I
though.
feel like they just
No,
died.
that was all pretty quick.
quite
They had just
quickly.
died. Yeah.
And so it's probably less traumatic for the dog walker than finding a
Yeah.
body that's been out in the bush for weeks.
That's another,
I mean, if he's tough
lovely
as
young man falling
Eastender.
asleep in a, what was it? Delirious.
Cemetery.
Yeah. In a
I
cemetery.
caught a tram from Central Station to Foxtel in Sydney one day, and the tram went past a dead drug
Oh.
user, person who'd OD'd in the park. You know, the park just in front of Central Station? Yeah. There were police around and that, but yeah, that was weird. And the tram stopped right next to the scene. I was like, oh that's awkward.
The driver probably wanted to have a look.
Probably. I was like, put my hand up and I'm not looking. It was gross, but not traumatic. Yeah.
So back to Daniel Whitworth. Now, Daniel was, by all accounts, I think Daniel was also a chef. You know, nice, young, nice guy. And he is found in the graveyard, but there's a difference. This time,
It's like she
who's
gets
whispering?
further away. I'm going, talk into the mic.
Oh, sorry.
And you're getting further and further away.
Oh, sorry. Because my chair bangs. Sorry. Should I repeat all of that?
Daniel Whitworth. Tell us about him.
Okay. So Daniel, oh God,
Daniel Whitworth.
Daniel Whitworth. Oh no, I got the giggles. Shit. Daniel Whitworth, as I said, was like just a nice young guy, and when he's found in the graveyard in St Margaret's, he actually has a suicide note with him.
Oh, come off it.
Yeah.
This is a rookie error.
In his handwriting?
Well, that's a very good question, Clarky.
No, the cops wouldn't check that.
But where it gets very complicated, and it's kind of hard to share this clearly, is the suicide note, which says, he can't go on, has like a footnote in it that says, and the guy that I was with last night, it's got nothing to do with him.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh my God. I was thinking that, and then you've just said it. I'm going, no.
That is
Dear
so dumb.
teacher, Paul can't come to school today. He's very sick. From Paul's mum.
Paul. From Paul.
That's it, from Paul.
But he
for
tries
goodness
to
sake.
implicate him. This is a person who has just committed suicide. Is trying to say that he feels such incredible guilt over the death of Kavari. So he's trying to say,
What?
Oh, I
yes,
killed
yes,
him. Yeah, okay, right.
I may have had something to do with
I had
Kavari,
something to
but
do with
nothing to
his
do with the
thing.
guy that I was with last night. Could you imagine having found that?
The common denominator between all of us, Stephen Port, nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Just coinky dink.
Where, this is
You'd be
What an
totally
idiot.
sus on the dog walker at this stage, though, wouldn't you, if you're the police?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't
Not-
worry
not
about the
these
guy.
police.
They've already
I'd
said
be
that the guy had
going-
nothing to do with it. It's all the dog walker. Yeah.
This is what's very so. The detectives failed to carry out
they
any
arrested
forensic
the dog
tests.
walker.
Correct.
Didn't do anything. He was also he was also in a bed sheet. Who do you think's the bed sheets? Where did that had come from?
God.
Didn't do anything with that. They didn't test
Oh,
the
it's
bed
because
sheet.
he had a suicide note, which explained
Correct.
what had happened.
That's exactly right. They
Yeah.
didn't test his clothes. They didn't do any sex swabs from his body, and the bottle, the drugs.
PSP, yeah.
Didn't check that either. All of which would have carried Stephen Port's DNA or fingerprints, but nothing was checked. And with the suicide note, what they did was they took a sample of it and sent it to his father and stepmother and said, is this his writing? But they didn't include any of the content of none of what had actually happened in the letter. I don't even know if that's normal, is it? Wouldn't you be allowed to have the whole letter? I don't know. There was nothing personal in it at all. Like there was I can't handle,
Dear
please
Mum
say
and
my
Dad.
dad, none of, nothing personal, nothing about his partner, just nothing at all.
At this stage, did they have Stephen Port's DNA on file? Do you know?
I don't know that. Would they though?
Okay,
if he'd
that's
al-
right.
I don't know. I don't know the
Yeah,
answer to
okay.
that.
Possibly. If he had a conviction, I think anyone who gets a conviction now, he was incarcerated, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think anyone now who is incarcerated for anything, charged and incarcerated, they take a DNA sample. I'll look it up if you like.
Absolutely. So, as I said, only a small section of the suicide note was sent to the Whitworths, and what they said was at the time, we can't confirm one way or the other. But what was recorded as saying, no, it's definitely his, or yes, they said it was. You know what I mean? Or they didn't, or it wasn't recorded, or it was just kind of like.
Is there any more to this letter so I can have a look at it?
Yeah, nothing. They didn't even show Mr. Whitworth's long-term boyfriend, Ricky Walmsley, for another year. And he said that he felt totally cut out of the investigation entirely. And he said that he raised concerns about how it was so impersonal. The nature of the letter, as I said, didn't have any mention of any family members. So, and he couldn't be sure that it was his partner's handwriting either.
Oh.
And the fact that the note contained this veiled reference to Stephen Port, asking police not to blame the guy I was with last night in case the investigation eventually linked the victim with the serial killer. Could you imagine it? Oh,
no, God. It's a genius.
Back to your question on it.
Yeah.
It looks like the police do, as a matter of course, take a DNA sample for anyone who's arrested in the UK. So,
and did back then, do you reckon? Or does it say?
Yes, I would say at the point in time that he was arrested.
Sounds like before
2014. No, it was 2014 when he got arrested for.
Yeah, no, what I mean is
yes.
would have probably before 2012 that they started doing this by the sounds of that.
2003 in point of fact. So in the UK, police can take DNA as a matter of course from individuals arrested for a recordable offence, of which he had because he did time for it, following a law change in 2003. So yes, he definitely would have had his DNA on record, and if they tested any of the victims, they would have probably picked that up.
And that's why I wondered about if they had on record, because then, of course, they would have found a connection very quickly.
I'm sure there would have been saliva or semen or something left.
Yeah.
Worth checking.
Ah, yeah.
It's a lot of extra paperwork.
It was a busy day at the office, yeah.
Oh, can't be fucked.
Donuts with Dale.
Is it lunchtime yet?
I don't think that I just don't think they looked into anything. There's no evidence that Mr. Cavari and Mr. Whitworth, had ever met or contacted each other. So there was no
there's no connection,
communication trail, no trail there. Police didn't obtain full phone data, so that because they could have actually seen whether or not Mr. Whitworth was in Barking on the night of Mr. Cavari's death, and that way they could have discounted the fact that there was a suicide note and that the claim didn't marry up.
So they didn't even look into the idea that he had something to do with the other guy's death, which they also didn't treat as
anything,
suspicious.
I don't think so.
But this note, implicates this guy as possibly having something to do with someone else's death, and they still didn't go back and go, well, actually, maybe that's now suspicious.
I don't think so. It's just madness.
To me, two bodies in the same spot with the same drug found by the same dog walker, that would be like ding, 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 ding. Something is going on here that is not...
Even the dog walker thought that.
Coincident.
And the way she described it, and the wording that she used, I think is quite interesting, because she said her name was Barbara Denham. And she said, I told the police, I was the same woman that found the other bodies a few weeks ago. I found the other young boy. Do you know what I mean? It's not saying I stumbled across the other homeless tramp who would,
Or it happens every other week. This is my seventh this month.
Yeah,
it's...
I'm the one who saw them. I've seen them both.
Yeah.
I think we have a serial killer on our hands.
I mean, if I found two people on my dog walk a few weeks apart dead, I would be going... What
have I done? Am I blacking
I'd be
out?
ringing Reggie and going... I'm worried they're going to think it's me.
I'm worried if I'm having lapses. Am I the person who's murdering people while
Jekyll
I'm
and
asleep?
Hyde.
We've done those crimes.
What was that one? Yeah.
We've done two, haven't we, like that, where they've been asleep?
Yeah, the guy went and killed his in-laws. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the third death. So now we've had Anthony Walgate, number 1, Gabriel Cavari, 2, and Daniel Whitworth, 3. And that takes us... So
in
that
a very
was all
short
in
period of
2014.
time too,
So that was, as I said, June, August, and September. And now we've actually got a little bit of a wait. Now it's not until September of 2015.
After he's done his time. Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a break. Yeah.
It's only 2 months though, wasn't it?
Yeah. So as I said, he was...
Yeah, but he would have been out of court.
He was out by August, so he's been out for a month.
He was busy. He had a bit of heat on him, yep.
So that's a really good point, right? So he didn't get convicted until when? Do we know?
June 2015.
Oh, so that's when he got convicted
March.
of...
March 2015, and he's sentenced. He goes in from June. He's released From March to June. My mistake.
So he goes in March.
Yeah, he was supposed to
he's
get 8
probably
months.
convicted.
He's out by June. Yeah.
February, March.
Yeah.
Which means by the stage that they're investigating him for his role in the first one, there's 2 more similar ones, and they haven't gone
Connected
ding, ding,
anything.
ding, 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 ding.
That's right.
God,
No.
there's that the weight of evidence that builds as a result of the common themes. You'd have to be asking questions, surely.
Was there a large turnover in police in the borough at the time?
No, I don't think so.
I don't get that he's moved the first body and then they've charged him with perverting the course of justice over that, and 2 more have turned up in the same
It's extraordinary.
spot as each other, different
Around
spot
the corner
to the
from
first
his house,
one,
basically.
and they haven't gone, we better go and knock on his door and just see if he
Also,
knows anything about
what
it.
deaths have we had in the last few months associated to GHB?
It's
There's a pattern here. You know, there's
With
3 of them
young-
now with young men,
twinkish looking
Yeah, there's
boys.
something. There's a theme. Yeah.
God. I mean, if 2 is the number that you change your dog walking route, what's the number that you start to see a pattern as a policeman?
17.
Far out. Like, what? It's crazy.
Okay. So,
Sometimes I think Swanny's just like waiting for us to exhaust ourselves
I
with
am.
a comment.
100%
Or
she
she's
is.
trying to
It's a
work out where
teaching
she's going to go
strategy.
next.
Both.
Anyway, right.
both, because this is a little bit complicated, the last one. So, not that they all like their own way. So, the 4th victim is another young man, and his name is Jack Taylor. And Jack Taylor's body is found on
By a
September
dog
14th.
walker in St Margaret's Church.
No, it
Right.
is not found by the dog walker. It is found in the park adjacent to St Margaret's.
Oh, he's back again.
So it's same place.
Have they not
Completely
got
different.
CCTV?
Unrelated.
Yeah, just a
No,
different
it's
wall.
unrelated.
They don't have CCTV cameras at that church, I take it.
They probably do, and no one ever bothered to check.
Blind spot.
What
So-
is
Was
the
it a
stat-
jogger
there's
that
a-
found this
there's-
one?
There's a statistic that you can't go more than like 4 metres or something in the UK without being filmed on CCTV. How is it 3 bodies in the same place?
Yep.
No one's noticed the man carrying them there?
They're not the same place. One was completely unrelated. It was in the park across the road.
Right. Adjacent. Right.
Yeah. Sorry, adjacent, yes.
So the final death
Wow.
was not linked to the previous 3
Shocked
until a
me.
chance discovery. Yep. That was despite similarities. All 4 victims were young, gay men with no links to the area who were found dumped in public within a short distance of each other. Mr. Taylor's family shared with police their concerns that the death might be linked to others in the area, as did the coroner. So what had happened was the sisters
Everyone else is
of Jack
saying-
Taylor.
Everyone else.
Excuse me. There's a theme here, and the police like, no.
Yeah.
You know those things that you see on Facebook where it says like B church light bulb or whatever, and you've got to try to work
the
out what the
logic-
pattern is.
Yeah.
Logic test.
I think the
met
police
need
department
abilities,
should
yeah.
be tested with that. Like, far out. How can you not see that pattern?
Including the coroner is seeing it, though. Also.
So the coroner had, when they had looked into the deaths of Daniel Whitworth, because they hadn't hadn't checked the sheet, like all these things. They were like, you haven't even looked at anything. I can't categorically say. She was sort of like, I don't know. So the poor families, when they'd gone through the process, were sort of
suspicious.
like, we don't know. Sorry, that's kind of, don't know. Computer says no. But these sisters of Jack Taylor were not having it. For starters, they were like, our brother, because again, this one was like they'd put a syringe in his pocket and some coke and like there were needle
for
marks.
fuck's
And they're
sake.
like, he's a forklift driver, but all he wants to do is be a policeman. That's his thing. He wants to be a policeman. He doesn't
but
do
also,
drugs.
you
He's
don't
anti-drug.
shoot up coke, do you?
I don't think so. I'm not saying that they did that.
Oh,
I
right.
think that might have been just putting a bit of stuff on him kind of thing.
Paraphernalia, yeah.
Paraphernalia, yeah. Taylor's sisters reported the police simply telling them the family, Jack's dead, and accepting the syringe in his pocket, white powder in his wallet, and needle marks on his arms as indicating that he sat down by himself and overdosed on drugs, although her brother was very anti-drugs. She and another sister contacted Barking and Dagenham police 11 days after his death for an update on the investigation and were astonished to discover none was taking
Closed.
place.
There's
No
investigation.
investigation. They then researched for themselves and came across the 3 previous cases, but the police responded by denying there was any connection. Eventually, 2 weeks after his death, the police agreed to take the 2 sisters to where Taylor's body had been found and at Barking Station. So that's where he'd got off the train to go off tube to go and meet with Stephen Court. and they were looking for CCTV footage of Jack Taylor and another man. The sisters were
they found it,
surprised
and so
not to
lo
have
and
been
behold.
notified, and more surprised to be told the police were not attempting to identify the other man. They found they had footage. One
And he's
described the
6'5" and a beanpole. Surely it'd
They didn't want to
stand
be able to
out.
look. Well, they weren't even trying to find out who the man was. One described the attitude of the police as shocking. In response to their questioning the credibility of the police account of what the footage showed, a sergeant later contacted them to say, upon review, the footage did not show Taylor entering the churchyard alone. They then requested that images of the other man be made public in order to identify him. So this Jack Taylor walking with a 6'5" man. The police were reluctant,
Slender man,
saying that they did not normally release CCTV images, but eventually gave in. And 2 days later, Port was identified from images and arrested. So those sisters pushed for what is, I would think, normally kind of the bare minimum in that kind of thing.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Had to push and push for that to
police
eventually
had
happen in
met
2
him.
days.
How many 6'5" blokes with the
Police
toupee
had met
are
him.
running
It's a
around
great
Dagenham?
call.
They met him. What do you mean you don't know who he is?
Oh,
He's
you mean
the
that's
guy.
Lurch?
It's Slender Man from number 5.
This happened to him too.
What a coincidence. He had a guy die out the front
Poor
of his
bloke.
house in the same
God,
circumstances.
it's like the dog walker. She kept finding people like this too.
What the? It's not like he was never on their radar. They'd arrested him. He'd gone to jail. They had records of him. They'd taken photos of him. People had interviewed him for that crime, I'm guessing.
Anyone know this bloke?
Is he got some kind of a thing about him that just people's brains forget that he existed after they meet him or something?
It was only when a detective working on the Walgate investigation, so that's the first guy, chanced upon the printout of the CCTV still of Mr. Taylor.
This is what I meant about the turnover and the
mystery
police. They're not all
man
working
on the night.
different
Yeah.
people working on the cases. Yeah.
That he was the detective to finally make a link between Port and Anthony Wilcott.
So he's the guy who met Port, though, right?
The first one,
Yeah.
The very first one.
And so this is what I meant before when I was saying, did they have a high turnover or something? Well, I suppose no one was even working on these as cases. So
imagine what happens there. And there's another officer that is the guy who links him with Kavari and Whitworth. What do you think happens in the lunchroom that day at work when they're all going, oh, fuck, I wonder if
uncomfortable.
I wonder if that guy that I just didn't do anything about or had anything to do with it.
No, probably not. I think it's more like, oh, that's interesting. I had a similar case. Maybe I'll look into it now.
Oh, there would have been somebody who wasn't involved in them going, are you that fucking dumb? Daryl, whatever his name is.
It's just, how many murders are they investigating? I don't know, right? So
how many aren't they investigating?
Well, where I'm coming from is obviously you, as a police person, I don't know how many serial killers you ever get in your career. Probably none. Most police would not have a serial killing case come up as they're investigating. So you know what I mean? You're not looking for it because you're not doing a true crime podcast where everyone's a serial killer every week virtually. You're just doing your job, and it's just one case after another. And if 9 times out of 10, it is an overdose. I'm not justifying. I'm just saying it's a statistical thing in some ways.
I could cop that with the first one. That's what I was saying about the free pass. You get a very similar one nearby as a second one.
I think when the bed sheet
then
showed
you
up,
get
the bed sheet was
one.
no, come on.
Yeah, and the suicide note.
The third one at that point, you're saying, come on. There's a bed
my
sheet.
killer had nothing to do with this. Written into the suicide note.
Exactly,
what?
Right? At that
I want
point,
to know how you commit suicide and then wrap yourself up in a bed sheet as well.
I know there's so many weird things, right?
Also, the thing that with the final victim, Jack Taylor.
I wonder if I've got that wrong.
Can I just check? So the CCTV footage had him go into the churchyard and he died there?
No, I think that was separate footage. I think the footage that
Jack
I've
Taylor
seen, they're walking down the high street.
Park.
They're on the high street where
My
I've seen
point
them
is that
after they've met.
he didn't die in the park though, did he?
No,
did he go
I
back
don't
to
think
his
so.
house and
I think
he
so.
killed him,
Yeah.
had sex with him, raped him,
Yeah,
whatever.
I think so. Yeah. The footage that I've seen, they're walking down the street. Yeah, outside. Yeah, they're walking outside Barking Station.
Okay, right.
So do you want me to, what I plan to do now is go through some of the questions about the police investigation. And then finally, I'm just going to go
Lack
through...
of questions?
Yes. Like a report and some suggestions.
Okay. Have you done a performance review for them?
It is a little bit.
Right.
So some of this I've kind of mentioned on the way through, but it's probably worthwhile reminding ourselves. So we've got 4 bodies of 4 young men found in the vicinity of Port's flat in a period of just over a year. Walgate, the first, outside his front door, and the other 3 in or just nearby the graveyard. The Met Police, however, failed to link the deaths. The first 3 victims...
Swanny, sorry, was there anything and any commonalities though between them? Because how are they supposed to get a pattern from that? Me.
The first 3 were not thought to have died in suspicious circumstances, despite the Pink News, which I'd mentioned before, and the Force's LGBT Independent Advisory Group correctly believing that there may be a serial killer at large.
Like everyone can see it.
Yeah. I mentioned this before, that one of the crucial witnesses was Stephen Port's neighbour, who said that he'd witnessed Port in a dazed state with large container full of white powder and bottles of clear liquid when he'd made an unexpected visit, and he'd also received suspicious texts regarding Kavari, who had been the guy, Daniel, who'd slept on the couch. Yeah,
this is Nell Mangle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next door.
I'm assuming Nell Mangle knew that Kavari died.
There were so many people like in the background who knew these young men who were trying to get answers. Kavari's previous landlord, John Pape, searched on the internet for other unexplained deaths in the Barking area and was astonished at the similarities in the case of Anthony Walgett, especially the locations in which the bodies were found. However, the police didn't link the 2 cases. Upon learning of Whitworth's death, this is the ex-landlord, he called the detective at Barking Police and demanded to know whether they thought that the three cases were linked or could be murder, as he was concerned for his own personal safety. He was assured they were not linked and they were not being investigated as being suspicious.
No, you're right, mate. You're fine.
He also offered to be interviewed since he felt he might have relevant information, but no one contacted him. Even after he had organisations such as Pink News contact the police on his behalf. The woman who found Kavari's body and found Whitworth's body, I had her name before, Mrs. Denham, Barbara Denham, in 2 weeks later in the same location, said that she thought that Barking and Dagenham police had no idea what they were doing if they couldn't connect the 2 cases. Whitworth's stepmother, Daniel Whitworth's stepmother, says that...
Let alone the 3. She didn't know about the first one, did she?
No. When the police informed her of Daniel's death, and they led her to believe he had overdosed on drugs, despite no investigation having taken place, and discounted bruising under his arms, which a coroner later stated meant that third-party involvement could not be ruled out. They took the supposed suicide note left with the body at face value, sending a small fragment to her and Whitworth's father, asking them to verify whether it was his handwriting. Although they said they were unsure, it was established at trial that Barking and Dagenham police had recorded this as confirmation. It was Whitworth's handwriting.
Fucking hell, come on.
And the police had not even submitted it for expert analysis.
Oh, that costs money.
When the couple was shown later, the complete document, so much later, Whitworth's father immediately commented he saw nothing to indicate it had been written by his son. The couple had also asked whether the police had investigated.
Fragment. Was it like the word "and"?
A couple of lines. That was it.
Like just a word.
A full stop. It's very hard to see
like
from
a couple
that
of
full
sentences.
stop.
Can't tell from that.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like, is there any more to this that maybe we could have a look at?
Imagine being told this. The couple also asked whether the police had investigated who was meant by the guy I was with last night in the letter, and their response was that it would never be possible to find all the answers.
I mean, it's not like we've got CCD footage that could help us.
It's not like we could investigate it. It's not like we could find his DNA and see whether or not we have it on record.
I mean, it's not like there could have possibly been somebody who brought the body over in a bed sheet to prop it up in the church.
It's not like that bed sheet couldn't have other matter on it. No.
So following his conviction, which we'll get to, the Independent Police Complaints Commission opened an investigation into whether 17 police officers should face disciplinary action as of November 2017. 17 of them. Yeah. Stephen Port went to the Old Bailey in 2015. He was charged by this stage with 4 counts of murder and 4 of administering poison. They also added 6 more counts of administering a poison, 7 charges of rape, and 4 of sexual assault. And that was because when it became public knowledge, it was in the public domain, other people did come forward.
Oh. I was trying to do the math on that, but
Yeah.
of course.
On November 23, 2016, Port was convicted of the murders, assaults by penetration, and rapes of Anthony Walgate, 23, Gabriel Pavari, 22, Daniel Whitworth, 21, and Jack Taylor, 25, as well as the rapes of 3 other men he drugged and 10 counts of administering a substance with intent and 4 sexual assaults. He was found guilty on all accounts. In total, 11 men were known victims of Port's crimes. Commenting on the case, Deputy Chief Crown Prosecutor Malcolm McAfee said, over a period of 3 years, the defendant committed a series of murders and serious sexual offences against young men. Stephen Port manipulated and controlled these men through the chilling and calculated use of the drug GHB, which he administered without their permission.
Swanny, do you know in the period from September to September if there were more events that didn't lead to death, or were they all prior to the murders, the other ones that he was convicted of?
I don't know when they fall. I don't know.
Okay, yep.
They must have fallen before. They would have to be before because he was then arrested, I guess, after Jack Taylor a couple of weeks later. So, yeah.
Did he admit to anything?
Yes, I think he finally admitted, but not to start with. Like, there's a whole piece where you can see him being, interviewed and he doesn't know anything or whatever else. But I think that I don't know the answer to that actually, categorically, because a lot of stuff is
because sometimes I've read closing statements of prosecution the Crown, and they say you did this, you did that, but unless the person says I did this, I did that, we don't really know. And that's why I asked earlier about, was it intentional? I get it was intentional to give all these young men drugs so that he could rape them, probably, or have sex with them, whether they consented or not. I do wonder whether or not we know for sure he intended to kill them.
I think a lot of it probably came down to what they found on his laptop and all the footage and stuff that he had filmed and what he'd been watching. And I think that perhaps in that instance there was stuff where it had been filmed where it had...
He filmed the proceedings?
I think so, yeah. Quite often. There was a lot of stuff.
And I think
but there was stuff, but they didn't check the very first time. They had there was stuff on the computer they didn't even get to. They had a little bit of like cursory look at it. Oh, that's fine.
But I think that's where it becomes more evident because if someone's having an OD on a drug in front of you and you don't call the ambulance, that's where you murdered them. Even if you didn't actually intend to murder them in the first place. Yeah.
I think also after you've done it once, like that same pattern to me would be going, if I do the same thing with somebody else,
I'm going to have the same result.
I should reasonably expect that I'd get the same result,
No, I get it. But he could have been, to your question about when the other sexual assaults fell in the timeline, he could have been picking up boys every other day.
He probably was.
Yeah, and drugging them and raping them. And so in this period, it's like, that's all I'm saying is the 4 could have been accidental, but he's done nothing to administer help or anything like that when they've died.
Apparently, his internet history was so... like the amount of porn and this date rape porn was so prolific that he was watching. He was basically watching it every hour he was awake. And they can track it at one point, and they know at one point the only time he wasn't doing it was when he would leave the flat, go to the train station, pick up the person and bring them home.
Was he working?
Well, apparently he was, but when he wasn't at work, he was doing porn, so he must have been.
Okay.
Yeah, all porn, all the time.
That's why you shouldn't allow working from home. No, So what I was wondering about with the timeline was, were there other ones prior to the first murder? The first one, I think I could see how that may have been accidental, and the fact that he moved the body and put it out the front of his own apartment kind of to me, I go, oh, maybe that he was as shocked as everyone as to how that had happened, how it had resulted in the death. The other ones, so quickly afterwards, you go, if you're doing that same thing and he's moving them to a spot that is further away, you know, trying to distance himself more from it, it just sounds like it's more conscious or deliberate than accidental
Yeah.
to me. And I'm reading into that for sure, but it
Yeah.
just...
I'm not convinced, but I think that his just disregard is,
he's vile.
appalling. Like even if he didn't mean to kill them, he's just dumping them in a churchyard.
It sounds like the murder was irrelevant
he's
in his eyes.
Yeah.
Creep.
Yeah.
As long as I got my rocks off.
Yeah.
Foul. Yeah.
So this is just a sort of a footnote about an investigation that the Guardian did into the Met, and just some findings. So the families of Port's victims have accused the Met of homophobia. In fact, interesting. In fact, the police, they claim now they did not initially realise each victim was gay.
Accurate.
It says doesn't excuse their failings, but by the time they recognised the men were gay, the investigations were already doomed to fail.
Oh, it's too late. We couldn't.
Yeah. Almost immediately, and with little interrogation or curiosity, frontline officers had decided each case was simply a death of self-administered.
See, here's the problem. The gays aren't obvious enough nowadays. It makes it so freaking hard to do our job.
That's exactly right.
But whether they're gay or not, the fact that two men died under similar circumstances within 2 months of each other should have been investigated, full stop.
And what's there's one line here that I find really interesting. It's saying that the mistakes of not recording it from the outset were critical and they're hard to forgive. It affected everything that followed. It meant that specialist homicide detectives did not become involved.
No.
So what you had were little local officers who got a million
plot.
other ones. Correct. And they didn't consider that it could be a serial killer. I mean, don't they watch any of the UK
But this
police
is what I was
dramas?
saying before. I mean, if you don't have that's fiction, and if you don't have regular serial killers on your patch, it's not something you're looking for. And he's not butchering people, right?
I think when you get a pattern.
Well, I think the type of the cause of death as well. It's not blunt force trauma. It's not a violent attack.
Two people in the same graveyard.
I agree, right? Well, that's the
they're
third
not popping
one, right?
off.
That's 3 then. You're absolutely right.
But what I'm saying, those two, you would be going, I cannot overlook this.
Even the dog walker couldn't overlook it. Come on.
Dog walker saw the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Barbara.
With all of her specialist training.
That's right.
So this report says it describes a police force that has struggled to overcome deep-rooted problems with competence and in professionalism. We regularly hear that the Met is inexperienced and that its resources are stretched, which we accept, but it doesn't absolve the Met of its responsibility to meet basic requirements. So they have uncovered 5 issues they believe offer the most convincing explanation for why the Met's handling of the Port case was fundamentally flawed. Number 1, not enough training is provided to inexperienced police officers who respond to deaths, and not enough is done to instill an investigative mindset in officers. They need to listen to some more podcasts. Second, these are all really useful. I just think this is right on the money. Second, there is poor supervision and oversight of these same officers. It makes sense in so many, like in any work situation, right? Let alone when it's, it's
So
about
like
life and death.
and no one's watching.
Yes,
Yep.
no one's watching. Yep. That's right. It's just, do the best you can. There you go. That's what we've got to work with. A senior supervisor should attend all reports of sudden death, but that we found that it was common for supervisors to be acting or temporarily promoted sergeants rather than senior in rank.
There you have it.
Yep. Thirdly, they found unacceptable record keeping, confusing case management systems, and poor handling of property and exhibits. Combined, these problems can lead to confusion, duplication, and wasted time. Fourth, the Met has an overwhelming amount of confusing policy and guidance. And fifth, we found inadequate intelligence and crime analysis processes, which make it difficult for the police to link deaths at a local level.
I could have just left it at...
Folks are dumb where I come from.
they could have just left it. They didn't. Inadequate intelligence. Barbara could see it. And I'm not for a second trying to indicate that Barbara might not be clever.
No.
But
even Barbara,
she's not trained in it. She sees 2 and just says a pattern here.
Yeah. There's two
I mean, surely
on my
there
dog
were
walk, on my patch within, what was it, 2 weeks or something.
2 weeks. Surely someone is writing reports on these that is going to someone who should be going, oh, that's 3 in like 2 months or 4 months or whatever it was. What was it? June, August, September. So 4 months we've had 3 more or less identical deaths. That becomes suspicious, even if the individual ones weren't suspicious.
To finish off, it says the Met has made some improvements, because this goes back to 2015,
Yeah.
right? These include better working arrangements between local officers and specialist homicide investigative teams, and better training and guidance, including training for officers regarding chemsex. So they know what they're dealing with. So it's not always just going to be like, oh, well, death by misadventure, you silly guys, or you've overdosed or whatever else. So they've welcomed those changes. But the gentleman who did this report is Matt Parr, and he is the Inspector of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services. And he's still very critical. He says confidence in the Met matters. It's the UK's largest police force by far, and for many, the face of British policing. And it desperately needs to recruit quality people from all of London's communities and retain the good ones currently serving. You can't just be churning out the people with the experience. You need a combination of all parts of the community with exposure to lots of different, lives and lifestyles, and young, old. It has to represent the community at large. It can't just be, well, let's get rid of them. They're too expensive or too old or whatever else, and get young people in who don't have the experience.
I get the systematic failures, and I don't know. Maybe it's easy with the benefit of hindsight, but what do you have to do to have 3 deaths like that in 4 months and not see a pattern? How does that happen?
Well, the only other thing that we haven't got a statistic on is how many bodies show up in St Margaret's Church on the reg.
In what year was it? Let's have a look. I'm just, because there's a drama that was based on it, and the gentleman who plays Stephen Port is Stephen Merchant, because he's probably the only person tall enough.
Tall enough. Isn't he like 5'7" though?
too.
I mean 6'7".
In 2022, the BBC aired the drama thriller 4 Lives, based on the investigation led by the families of Port's murder victims. So it's interesting. So Stephen Port is played by Stephen Merchant, but the main characters in it are Sheridan Smith and Jamie Winston. I suspect they probably play Taylor's sisters, because I think these people are the ones who played such a big role in trying to work out what on earth had happened to their brothers, sons, partners. It is really a very creepy situation where you're looking at someone who just is churning through people for sex, and I don't know, at the rate that he was doing it, I just got a sort of insatiable appetite for sex and drugs and young boys. With sex with young men.
Ooh, sentencing. So he's got life, yeah?
Oh, sorry, I didn't even get to that, did I?
Well, we'll give him life
he
for
did.
sure.
He's got
Several, maybe.
sentenced to life imprisonment with a whole life order, and he's currently held in Belmarsh.
Interesting. So I don't know how many men have got whole life orders, but it's not that usual to give them. Yeah. And I think that's fair, because his disregard for human life is evident.
Yeah. He's too dangerous. The way that life is, so much of it is online, he's just such a liability, right, to have out there.
Oh, yeah.
Behaving behind him.
How do you
Pretending to be
reform
someone
that?
else.
No,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, how would you monitor that? I don't see how you could.
Yeah.
Right, so that, friends, is the story of Stephen Port. He may be known as the Grinder Killer. I did see that somewhere, but I didn't. That's not how it came to me. I just saw it mentioned somewhere. So perhaps he's known in the UK as that.
Well, maybe that's my sentence for him then. Might pop him in a grinder.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think that's quite fitting. Grind him, and then I might use his ground remains to fertilise the roses at St Margaret's Church, Dagenham.
Oh, I like
Bit
it.
of blood and bone.
Look, it looks. I don't know if it was when I looked. I thought it was quite a lovely little.
I can imagine it would be.
Yeah.
I'll just help its flowers with a bit of blood and bone. I'll have to tell Barbara not to walk the dog that week, though, because the dog will be right in there.
Yeah, be chomping on the killer.
They love it. What about you guys?
Jeepers. I think I'm trying to find the person in the police force who is responsible.
Well, they were all not responsible.
Clearly
That's part of
very
the problem. Or
irresponsible.
not
Yeah.
accountable, perhaps, yeah.
Someone said to me the other day, the problem with the world is people don't care. And it kind of feels like
That's what happened here.
the
Yeah.
police didn't care. And yeah, we've seen that plenty of times in the past with female sex workers. So the fact that one of them may or may not have been a sex worker maybe makes it easy for them to ignore it.
Oh, it's been a common theme, hasn't it, really?
It is.
Yeah,
It
I think so.
desensitizes people, or it gives them a rationale to say that person is less deserving of my
Yes.
attention than
Yeah.
someone who I am saying from a societal perspective is more pure or whatever.
Yeah. Not asking for it.
But and I don't want to talk down the heroics of the sisters who actually managed to
Yeah, good on them.
find a way to get to the bottom of it. But that's
What, ask for a
people
bit of
who,
CCTV?
well, and have to fight the whole thing. And,
I know,
that's
right?
people who care. All it takes is a bit of care and a bit of passion and look at what you can do. And there's obviously a whole department of people who
Didn't feel that way.
I know. Yeah, and I know we spoke about sort of the fact that they're not podcasters or whatever, but I would think that most of them go into those jobs
You'd have an interest,
wanting
wouldn't
to
you?
solve crime.
Yeah.
And you'd be almost predisposed to having some kind of inquisitive mind or trying to look for a pattern, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I just don't understand what gets people into policing. But someone must have been sitting there going, I've got all of those files on my desk. How did I miss that?
It's Friday night, chaps. I'm going to put it in the old circular filing cupboard. Ha 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 ha.
And and that person, like, how do you sentence that? Because the disrespect shown to the parents over the suicide note or the long-term partner, I don't know. There's something that has to.
I feel like it wasn't one person. I feel like it was 17 people apparently. And I feel like that's part of the problem, that it's all sort of chopped up. I feel like, I don't know for sure, but like certain people dealt with certain parts of certain things. So the person looking at the
Yes.
suicide note and having the conversation with the parents could have been different to someone else doing something else. But the fact that, and that's the point about the performance appraisal, that there's not adequate supervision and sort of, I guess, project management, if you like, across the whole thing to say, when we watch these crime dramas and there's the boss, the gov sitting at the top going, hey, Clarky, you get on the phone and ring up all the people in this area and you go, and you, Swanny, you go through all the CCTV from the last 3 weeks and you over there, you do these things. And then how are you going with that and pulling it back? It feels like there was no coordination. And it starts with the fact that they weren't investigating.
There was no investigation.
There's nothing to coordinate.
Yeah.
I'm assuming each of the people who turned up to the dead bodies had to do a report. There's probably a report done for each of them. And those reports would go to someone.
It was one pager that
And-
said, dead body, St. Margaret's Church, suicide.
Sure, but when I
done.
talk about the one person, there is a person who would be responsible for reading those reports for the purpose of connecting.
100%. But to Swanny's point, often that person was in an acting role or was some cover.
So
The
what?
system's fucked, though. The point is that you haven't got people doing a consistent role, so they're not paying
The
attention.
dog walker could see a pattern.
I know, but the dog walker wasn't working in Dagenham Police Station at the time. And
It
had
sounds
how
like
many other
nobody was.
crimes, right? There's lots of other things
Just-
going on at the same time. I know I sound like I'm defending them. I'm not
They're
really.
dead bodies. They're not stubbed toes
and that is the
know-
crux of the thing here. They're someone's son, they're someone's brother, and they're not being treated with the respect to ensure that at the most micro level you've done some form of investigation to truly rule out foul play.
It's not for pickpocketing incidents that they're dead people. They're dead bodies.
Yes.
They're people.
Well, I did Google how many dead bodies are found in St Margaret's Church, Dagenham, yearly. Apparently, it's not on
Yeah.
public record, unfortunately.
Oddly,
But I'm
I'd
like,
say that's because it's zero.
If there's a pattern, or not a pattern, if there's a large number, then you say that's why we're desensitized. But
I wonder how many people die in Dagenham policing area every month.
Just keep
It
talking.
would be interesting to know because, are there 10 murders per investigating officer per month, and it's a lot to go into any detail.
Caseload.
So then, the grinding is a good solution. The neighbour annoys me a little bit.
Ugh. There's just something too tidy about the neighbour in the sense that
Certainly the way
he's
you've
had
told
chance
it.
to well, I've seen him interviewed and it was like, well, this is, I don't know, just feels very, hopefully it's been useful, the information he gave them, but it's also this sort of like, with hindsight, you're allowed to sort of sanitize it and say whatever you like.
Okay, well, Swanny, well told.
Thank you.
Never heard of the grinder the grinder killer, but happy to put him in a big grinder of his own and he can just go away. Oof.
Thank you.
And I guess on that note, as we say every week, miss you already.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.